everyone, and welcome back to Jade classes. I am Manideepa. Today, we are diving into one of the most intense and pivotal scenes in Shakespeare's Macbeth. Yes, today we are going to do Act 1, Scene 5. This is the scene where we are introduced to Lady Macbeth. And we come to know about the infamous letter, her chilling invocation to the spirits, and the famous advice. What was the advice? Look like the innocent flower, but the serpent under it. So, grab your text. Okay, keep your textbook beside you. Keep a notebook ready and let's break down the scene line by line. Act 1, Scene 5. Act 1, Scene 5 takes place in Inverness. Now, what is Inverness? Inverness is Macbeth's castle. Okay, so the scene takes place in Inverness, that is in Macbeth's castle. Okay, and the scene took place in a room. Okay, so the scene took place in a room in Macbeth's castle. So as the curtain rises, whom do we see? We see Lady Macbeth entering onto the stage and she is reading a letter. Okay, whose letter was that? So this letter has come to her from Macbeth. Okay, so this letter was sent to her by Macbeth. So where he had informed her about his meeting with the witches. Clear? So she was reading the letter, means when the scene starts. So she already had been reading the letter. So she was on the halfway, okay, reading the letter. They met me in the day of a success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. So Macbeth writes in the letter about his meeting with the Weird sisters. He says, okay, that I have met them on my day of victory. Okay, and he confirms through reliable proof that these weird sisters, so they possess supernatural foresight, okay, which is beyond human knowledge. Okay, when I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air into which they vanished. And Macbeth says that when I wanted to question them more, okay, so when I wanted to know more about my future, they just dissolved into thin air and they disappeared. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Quarter. Okay, and Macbeth says that while I was standing, okay, being stunned, amazed, okay, came missive means messengers. So right at that moment, the messengers came from King Duncan, who greeted me, okay, with the words, Thane of Quarter. By which title before these weird sisters saluted me and referred me to the coming on to time with a hail, king that shalt be. And Macbeth says that this is the very title, okay, that few minutes back, okay, the Welsh sisters had addressed me with. Okay, clear? It means that this was the exact title that the witches had addressed, means addressed me. Clear? So, and they also told me about my future, that I am going to be the king. Okay, so they said that hail king that shalt be, means you are going to be the king of Scotland. Thus have I thought good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightest not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. And Macbeth says that this I have a thought, means I thought that it is proper to give you this news, okay, to deliver, okay, you, okay, this news, because you are my partner, so you are my dearest partner, okay, means you are my dearest partner of greatness, means you are my equal partner in glory. Clear? So I'm giving you this news so that you do not miss out on celebrating the royal future, which is destined to both of us. Lay it to thy heart and farewell. So Macbeth, okay, tells her to keep this secret close to her heart, and he bids her farewell. Okay. So it means Lady Macbeth had completed reading the letter. Okay, and after that starts Lady Macbeth's soliloquy. Now, what do you mean by soliloquy? Soliloquy means, okay, that when you talk with yourself, okay, that there is no one else, so you are talking to yourself. Okay, and this is Lady Macbeth's soliloquy. So Lady Macbeth's soliloquy starts from here. Glamis thou art and courtier, and shalt be what thou art promised. Clear? So she instantly takes a decision. She acknowledges his current titles. That is, he is already the Thane of Glamis and the Thane of Courtier. And she firmly resolves that he will attain the throne, so which is promised to him by the witches. So that was an instant decision that she had taken. Yet do I fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of human kindness to catch the nearest way. But Lady Macbeth knows the character of her husband well. So she is worried. Okay, so Lady Macbeth seems worried that Macbeth's poor character is too tender and it's too compassionate. Okay, so which she says as milk of human kindness. Okay, so he is tender and compassionate to take the direct and ruthless shortcut. So what is this direct and the ruthless shortcut? That is that he will never become ready to take the shortcut, that is, okay, to murder the king and seize the crown. Thou wouldst be great, are not without ambition, but without the illness should attend it. And Lady Macbeth knows very well that Macbeth desires power, he desires high status, and he has ambition too, but he lacks the ruthless wickedness, okay, which is needed to carry out, okay, heinous deeds. Clear? So, what did I say over here? That Macbeth has desire, he wants power, he wants a high status, he is ambitious too, but he lacks the ruthless wickedness which is needed to carry out heinous deeds. What thou wouldest highly, that wouldest thou holily, wouldest not play false, and yet wouldest wrongly win. Okay, so Lady Macbeth says over here that Macbeth passionately desires, okay, power, okay, the crown, but the problem is that he wants to achieve, okay, the crown, okay, in an honorable way. He does not want to cheat, okay, so he doesn't want to cheat, yet he still wants to gain. So what can only be won, okay, these honorably. Clear? So what she means to say that whatever he passionately desires, okay, means whatever he desires, he wants the crown, he wants power, he wants status, but he wants everything, okay, in an honorable way. He does not want to cheat, okay, yet he wants, okay, what is not his. Okay, so he wants to gain, so what can only be won in a, means in a dishonorable way. Thou wast, okay, now thou wouldst have great glamours, that which cries, thus thou must do if thou have it. And Lady Macbeth says that if you desire the crown, okay, it demands murder. Okay, that if you really want the crown, then what it demands? Okay, it demands a murder. So you must commit murder, okay, if you want to possess the crown. Is it clear? And that which rather thou dost fear to do, than wishest should be undone. Lady Macbeth says that he is held, that is Macbeth is held by the fear of doing the deed. Means he is not ready, okay, to go, means to go for a murder. So he is held back by the fear of doing the deed, rather than a genuine wish that the deed remain undone once the reward is gained. Okay, and that which rather thou dost fear to do than wishest should be undone. So he is held back by the fear of doing the deed, so rather than a genuine wish that the deed remain undone, okay, once the reward is gained. He thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine eye. And now, okay, she arches, okay, she thinks that come home, okay, be fast, means come home quickly, so that I can influence your mind, okay, I can infuse into your mind, okay, my fierce determination and courage. Okay, so he, the hither means come here quickly, that I may pour my spirits in thine eyes, so that, okay, I can influence your mind, I can infuse, okay, my fierce determination and courage into your mind, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round. Okay, and Lady Macbeth had already made a plan. She plans to suppress all his doubts, his fears, and his moral hesitations through the forceful power of her words. Okay, so her words would remove every barrier, so which is standing between him and the crown. Okay, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round. So that means that I will use my tongue in such a way that I would remove every obstacle that is standing between you and the crown. Okay, crown means here, crown is referred to as golden round. Which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. Okay, the very crown that destiny and supernatural powers seem to have already determined. Okay, so you should wear it. Okay, so which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal means the very crown that destiny and supernatural powers seem to have already determined. Okay, then you should wear the crown. Next. So right at that moment, a messenger enters onto the stage. So seeing the messenger, Lady Macbeth asks him, "What is your tidings?" Means, what news or what message do you bring? Okay. And the messenger gives the news. The king comes here tonight. So the messenger had given the news that King Duncan is arriving to stay at our castle tonight. Okay, so this was the message that the messenger had given to messenger gave to Lady Macbeth. Now Lady Macbeth could not believe her ears. Okay, so she could not believe her ears. She could not believe her luck. So what did she say? Thou art mad to say it. It is not thy master with him. So who were it so? Would have informed for preparations. So when the messenger said that King Duncan is visiting us, okay, is visiting our castle tonight, so she reacts, okay, in shock. So she is shocked, and she claims and so she claims that if it had been real, okay, then Macbeth would have sent her the message. Okay, so she claims the messenger must be out of his mind to say such a thing. Okay, that the messenger must have gone mad. Okay, that he's reporting such a news. And she reasons that if Duncan were truly coming, okay, then Macbeth would be with him. Okay, and Macbeth would have sent advance notice so that they could make preparation for the royal visit. Okay, the messenger says, "So please you, it is true. Our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him, who almost dead for breath had scarcely more than would make up his message." And the messenger said that, okay, so messenger actually assures Lady Macbeth that, okay, this news is factual, means it's a fact. Okay, the news it's true. Okay, it is factual. So Macbeth is on his way, and another messenger outran Macbeth until he arrived Inverness, being exhausted and out of breath, that he could barely utter the announcement, okay, before he collapsed. Okay, clear? So the messenger assures, okay, Lady Macbeth that the fact is true. Okay, Macbeth is on his way, that is coming, okay, to Inverness, and another messenger had outran him. Okay, and that messenger, he became so exhausted. Okay, he was out of breath, that after reaching, okay, Inverness, he could barely utter, okay, the announcement. Okay, and then he collapsed. Collapsed doesn't mean here that he died. Okay, but he may have fainted out of exhaustion. Okay, Lady Macbeth. Give him tempting. He brings great news. And Lady Macbeth was overjoyed, okay, to hear this news. So she can't believe her luck. Okay. So she orders the servant to look after the exhausted messenger. Okay. She noted that the news he brings is momentous. Okay, so it's an opportunity, means what sort of opportunity? Okay, it's a proper opportunity to strike. Okay, the raven himself, he is a horse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. And Lady Macbeth says that the raven. Now, raven is a traditional omen of death and doom. Okay, so when the raven crows, so we say that it's a traditional omen, okay, of death and doom. Clear? And the Lady Macbeth says that the raven is a horse, okay, from repeatedly croaking, means croaking, okay, the deadly, faithful, means entry of King Duncan into her castle. Okay, that the raven is a hoarsely croaking, and it's repeatedly croaking. Okay, so which signifies the faithful entry of King Duncan into my castle. Come, you spirits that tend on mortal thoughts, and sex me here. Okay, and she invokes, okay, the spirits. She calls upon demonic, supernatural spirits, okay, that assist, okay, with murderous intentions to stripe away her feminine softness, her gentleness, okay, and her maternal instincts. Okay, that a woman who is soft, gentle, okay, motherly like, cannot, okay, go for a murder. So she invokes the spirit, okay, that come, okay, that come and strip away my feminine softness, my gentleness, and my maternal instincts, means unsex me. Clear? And to fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of a direst cruelty. So she asked to be filled completely from the top of her head to the tip of her toes with absolute and, okay, unsparing cruelty. Clear? So she asks the spirits, okay, to fill her completely from the top of her head to the tip of her toes with absolute and unsparing cruelty. Make thick my blood stop up the excess and passage to remorse. Now she asks, okay, to conserve her blood so that natural feelings of pity cannot circulate, okay, blocking every path that leads to guilt, remorse, or you can say moral hesitation. Okay, so she asks to conceal her blood to make her blood thick, okay, so that natural feelings of pity cannot pass through her blood up to her soul. Clear? That no compunctions visiting of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep a peace between the effect and it. Okay, so Lady Macbeth wants no natural twinges of conscience to shake her terrible purpose, okay, or to stand between her intention and the bloody execution of the dead. So here dead means the murder of Duncan. Okay, so Lady Macbeth wants no natural, okay, twinges of conscience to shake her terrible purpose or stand between her intentions and the bloody execution of the deed. Come to my woman's breast and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers. Wherever in your sightless substances you wait on nature's mischief. And she commands, okay, the invisible, evil serving agents of destruction to suckle her breast, okay, and replace her nourishing mother's milk with bitter, toxic bile, that is gall. Okay, so it seems as if, okay, uh, Lady Macbeth is very fiendish. So she commends, okay, the invisible means the sightless, okay, evil means evil serving agents of destruction to suckle at her breast and to replace her nourishing mother's milk with bitter, toxic bile. Come take night and tell thee in the dunnest smoke of hell. And she summons, okay, the pitch black night to shroud itself in the darkest, okay, murkiest smoke of hell. Okay, so she summons the, okay, pitch black night to shroud itself. Okay, shroud means to cover up itself in the darkest, murkiest smoke of hell. That my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold, hold. She wants the darkness to be so dense that her sharp knife cannot see the bloody wound it inflicts. And even heaven cannot peer through the uh, shroud of night, okay, to intervene and order them to stop. Clear? So she wants the darkness to be so dense that her sharp knife cannot see the bloody wound so which it inflicts, and even heaven cannot peer through the, okay, thick black night to intervene and order them to stop. Okay, so just at that moment Macbeth enters onto the stage. Okay, so Macbeth enters onto the stage and seeing Macbeth, she greets him. Okay, great Glamis worthy quarter, greater than both, by the all hail hereafter. So, seeing Macbeth, she hails Macbeth with his present titles, okay, great Glamis, worthy quarter, okay, and above, okay, above this two greetings, so she acknowledges the prophecy of the third witch that he will be king. Okay, the all hail hereafter, that you are going to be the king. Thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant. So Lady Macbeth, okay, informs Macbeth that his letter had lifted her out of the ordinary, okay, out of this ordinary, unknowing present moment. And she can already feel and experience the glorious royal future right now in this very instant. Okay, so what she says to Macbeth, that your letter had lifted me, okay, out of the ordinary, unknowing, okay, present moment, okay, and means I've already started to feel and experience the glorious royal future right now at this very instant. Okay, so Macbeth says, my dearest love, Duncan comes here tonight. And now Macbeth informs his wife, Lady Macbeth, okay, that my dearest love. So Macbeth greets Lady Macbeth, okay, very affectionately, okay, that my dearest love, and then he informs her. So he delivers the news that King Duncan will arrive to stay at their castle that night. Lady Macbeth. And when goes hence? So Lady Macbeth wants to know, okay, that when would Duncan return back? Okay, so Lady Macbeth wants to know that when would Duncan return back? Macbeth answers, tomorrow as he purposes. So Macbeth replies that Duncan intends to depart, okay, the next day morning. Lady Macbeth. Oh, never shall sun that tomorrow see. And Lady Macbeth very desperately declares with a chilling finality that Duncan will never live to see the sunrise, okay, the next day. Means Duncan cannot see the sunrise, okay, the next morning. Your face, my theme, is a book where men may read strange matters. And Lady Macbeth warns Macbeth. Okay, so what warning? Okay, he gives to Macbeth that his facial expression are too transparent. Anyone looking him, okay, so anyone who is looking at him can easily read his inner guilt, his fear, as well as, okay, the turmoil that is going on in his mind. Okay, so his face is just like an open book. To beguile the time, look like the time. And she advises him, okay, that in order to deceive the people around you, okay, that you must, okay, appear, okay, like the time. So appear like the time means that this time demands, okay, this time demands that you should behave like a welcoming host, okay, so you should look happy, so you should look like that, okay, so to bugle that time, to deceive that time, so you should look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. And she instructs him to project warmth, loyalty, and cordial hospitality in his gesture. Okay, so and this means warmth, means loyalty. Okay, hospitality. Okay, should get reflected through his eyes, through his physical welcome, and also through his spoken words. Look like the innocent flower, but the serpent under it. And she advises him to maintain a facade of pure, harmless innocence on the surface, while concealing deadly treachery and ruthlessness, okay, beneath. And this becomes the central theme of appearance versus reality. Okay, that you will look like an innocent flower, okay, but be the serpent under it. Okay, it means that, okay, look harmless on the surface and conceal deadly treachery and ruthlessness, okay, beneath. He that is coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch. Okay, and Lady Macbeth says that Duncan must be taken care of. Okay, so this line is having a double meaning. What is the double meaning? It implies hospitable reception on the surface, but assassination means murder in reality. Okay, so Duncan must be taken care of, and Macbeth must hand over the entire management and execution of the knight's murder, okay, to her. Okay, means she's going to handle everything. Which shall to our nights and days to come give us solely sovereign sway and masterdom. Okay, that if the, the night's business means today what we are going to do, if it could be carried out successfully. Okay, so successfully carrying out this night's bloody deed will secure absolute royal power, supreme rule, and undisputed mastery over Scotland for the rest of our lives. Okay, Macbeth says, we will speak further. Okay, so Macbeth hesitates and he attempts to delay the decision, which indicates that he is not yet fully committed to commit this murder. Lady Macbeth. Only look up clear, to alter favor ever is to fear. Okay? And Lady Macbeth tells him simply to keep a cheerful, untroubled expression, warning him that showing a disturbed or changing countenance, okay, will betray his hidden guilt, and it will just raise suspicion in the mind of others. So only look up clear to alter favor, ever is to fear. Okay, so Lady Macbeth warns him, okay, that he should not show his disturbed face. Okay, so if he does that, then he would betray his hidden guilt, and it would raise suspicion, okay, in the minds of other. Leave all the rest to me. So she takes complete charge of the murder plot. Okay, telling Macbeth not to worry about the logistics and to leave the executions entirely in her hand. Okay, so Lady Macbeth says that I'm going to manage everything. Okay, so leave all the rest to me, means I will do it. Okay, so leave the execution entirely in my hands. That brings us to the end of Act 1, Scene 5. If this line by line breakdown helped you understand the scene better, please hit the like button, share it with your classmates, and don't forget to subscribe Jade Classes for more comprehensive English literature lessons. Thank you for watching and keep learning. Bye.